Hello everybody, this is Frogman and welcome back to Manufactio. This is going to be episode 16. We're going to start up here after last episode. We built all of these presses and had a good time doing it. And then I went and built all of the redstone in the basement and then decided that that just wasn't going to be like cutting the thing that I wanted to do. So we changed a little bit of that up. The circuit is pretty simple as far as how I control both of these, since they both need the same kind of an output as far as a constant. 51 items produces a decent constant enough to keep these bins right around 1800 or about 17. If you go one more, I think it's like 2 or 3 more than that, it'll end up being about 1800. But I don't want to accidentally backstuff these, so we're controlling that. Anyhow, signal comes off of the bin, goes down into this comparator, which then sends a signal into a NOT gate, which is holding that timer closed. That timer will then fire into that NOT gate, which will flip it on, or flip it off, which will then turn the conveyors back on. So pretty simple, pretty easy. I know I've spent way too much time playing with Redstone in this stinking mod pack, but this is all about control and it's all about building things. And since some of the machines we have just won't back stuff after they've filled everything, you have to do things like this. So smart, or should say intuitive people will notice that I now have impulse item ducts in here. I realized that they were not that hard to make, at least considering with my current technology, because we just need steel plates, another item duct, and some glowstone dust, and a small amount of lubricant, which the glowstone I have been getting from our friends upstairs, so I've been trading madly with them with all of the other kinds of stuff and just feeding stacks and stacks of glowstone into the crushers. But that makes for a great, wonderful thing. It's still keeping me from having to go to the nether. I think the only thing that's going to stop us from having to go is the only thing that I'm going to have to worry about going to the nether for right now is the blaze rods that we're going to need eventually and some other parts in order to be able to make some of the tech gun stuff. But that is a while from now. So again, over here, we did all of the impulses into all of these, and boy, did that speed this up. Boy, did that make, especially the steel is a lot faster now. And it's also a lot more, I don't know what you call it, less laggy, more friendly, because there's not as many items floating into these things because they hurry up and get to where they need to go. So it does make for the FPS to be a little bit better too. So it's really nice. In between episodes as well, I made some blast furnace preheaters because we researched that a long time ago. I needed that to speed at least this bottom line up because we almost ran out of iron doing some things that I'm going to show you here in a minute, and I figured I would just throw these in here. They definitely speed up excuse me, the process of smelting. So we can see how quickly this one goes here versus this one. Whoop. Quite a bit of difference. So even just one preheater makes a major difference. Now that's 280, I think, RF a tick, so that required me to go on to another process, which is I finally hooked up the HV wiring to the system and made a bunch of HV transformers, and now everything on this side of the base is run through HV transformers and HV wiring. I still need to get rid of that guy. I found that out when I made those presses. As soon as I closed the world and opened the world again, they burnt every one of the MV wires. And no matter what I could do separating things, they weren't having it. So even though when the base was running fine, it was okay. When I started the world, it smoked every one of the wires. So we're somewhat okay for right now. That HV line is good for like 60,000 RF a tick, and then the MVs are good for like 30. So I just segregated the network out a little bit. Did not change anything in here other than that because, we're going to run impulses from now on. So I did do a little bit more work down here. There are now a whole bunch of plate presses, which I think I'm good now. This is pretty decent. That many presses means it runs for a cycle or two and then stops. So it's not like I've got 4 of them running continuously. I have 18 of these running, and they go like, maybe they'll run for 5 or 6 seconds and then shut off for a minute or two. So Gears got moved over. Gears are still the same old design. I have yet to move them upstairs. Amazingly enough, this is keeping up with the factory, so I may not need any more gears than that. So anyhow, let's go over to, that should have been some glowstone, hopefully. Oh, it's the stone we put in the thing. Yeah. Oh, and I don't think I've ever shown this. I have a input and an output for the entire sorting system over here. So the belts, basically there's a belt system that runs underneath all of these pathways, and they go around, and it sorts around and goes through the system, sorts out, goes around the back, across the top of the silos into a drop chute that goes down, which then again returns into the workshop to this chest. So if I have anything that needs to be sorted into the system, I can just toss it in there, and it will sort it out through the rest of the storage, and anything that does not belong in the storage system, like what's in here right now, will then drop into that chest. So yeah, long convoluted mess, but hey, why not? That's what you do for it. Used to be the furnace input, but we don't need that anymore. So all right, we got a few other things we need to look at here. Of course, we have impulse ducts on everything in here now, and boy, does it make it a lot nicer. It sure just goes to town to make things happen. So we're going to go up a little bit. Because I needed these take lubricant. I finally got tired of hauling lubricant over from the factory, and yes, I still need to finish the windows in this. So I went ahead and built the system that I had shown. I guess only the guys on the Discord will see it, and this will be in a tutorial shortly of how to set this system up, but I did get the barreling, unloading, and loading system working for minecarts. It's pretty quick. It does a very good job. At least the unloading is kind of slow yet because I haven't put a servo on the bottom of that. I'm kind of waiting for some more research. But basically what happens is we have a friend come say hi. What happens is there is a block placer right here that is set by a timer that will place a barrel. The barrel is then drained by the automatic output function of the barrel. Once the barrel is empty, that's measured, set through a timer that will then break the barrel, and the block placer will place a new one. So once everything is done, once I've emptied all of the barrels, I'm currently running 10 of them because that's 120 buckets. That's pretty simple, easy math. There is a clock that is set off that will allow the cart to leave by pulling that block back. It's a little bit more work, but it's definitely worth it for the ability to be able to haul a considerable amount more per cart than it would be with the other direction, which is the let's see, fluid. I've got the book on me. There is a bottling machine, and the other option here is the bottling machine, which is right here. This will fill buckets. And then Golrith was kind enough to make us a fluid unloading system machine, I believe, fluid unloader. And basically this thing will take any bucket of any type of a liquid that we have in the game, or at least the ones that he has listed here. And you can also make water with it, which is kind of nice. And unload the bucket and put it into an inventory that you can then pull out. I want a lot more than, a chest full of buckets, so we did it this way. I will be explaining this. I will be making a tutorial on it fairly soon because I actually, again, made the circuit a little smaller by building it in world. But anyhow, so we have this guy going on, and I did add, I need to go over a lane. I did add a impulse item duct assembler, and I have just been feeding it currently with the leftovers that I took out of here. It's used a lot of materials. I think I'm on my second row or second 5 or 6 or 7 or 12 stacks of glowstone to make enough of this to make it work, but it does make the impulse ducts, and they are so much better. So it's definitely worth going to once you get to that point. Okay, that should be everything that I wanted to do, other than we were going to go look at the other side of the fluid loading system. So the magic of teleportation will get us over there in a hurry. Blunk. And yes, the other side is kind of similar. Basically, I'm filling the barrels from the top. I'm using the block breakers and the block placers to do the exact same thing. This is the different circuit because I have to measure the barrel a little differently. But again, train station marker goes through, system runs through, drops down, and sits. This one ended up being a royal pain because I didn't have enough room at least for all of the redstone that exists in the world. So no big deal. Anyhow, we have things we need to build today and some more stuff that I need to look at, and I need to get rid of those. Thank you. Some odd reason when I have a bunch of portals open in the world, it just really gets, it drops the FPS quite a bit. So you don't want to leave them on very much, or at least I don't. We were talking about redoing science, and I was going to build science over in that little flat building that I did over there, and then I realized that I had the ability to use the automated workbench, the engineer's workbench, which these guys are pretty cool. They're from Immersive Engineering, and if I get back over here to here, they don't require a lot of stuff. They just need a lot of the hardest thing, I guess, is the steel scaffolding. That's the most expensive part, I guess. And we, in the last update, got the reinforced server filters. Now, reinforced filters have a nice ability here, which is I can tell it how many items to keep in an inventory. That means it's only ever going to keep a stack of each thing in here. Anybody that's tried to automate this before that happens, or the mixer for sulfuric acid, knows how much of a pain it is to try to keep a certain amount of an item in here. Those things will do it for you automatically. So that means these are very easy to at least keep that part automated. The other problem with these is that they do not stop like every other immersive engineering machine. They won't stop once you backstuff an inventory. They'll just start throwing items in the world. So again, I'm using a little bitty bin with a comparator and a couple of pieces of redstone to just keep a small amount of items on hand so that this thing can shut off. And I face them this way because that way you can watch them work. They're pretty cool. So we did go ahead and get the greens done, did go ahead and get the blues done. I went ahead and built the purple, or I should say the production science. And a production science, I've got a little bit of extra stuff in here because I had a bunch of junk laying around. Production science, same thing. And of course, since we unlocked it last time, I went ahead and set up the military. And yeah, I had a lot of leftover junk laying around. So that's the thing. Now, why am I using these versus an assembler? These take 3 seconds to craft a science, no matter what it is. So for these 5, that's the only one it won't do is the yellows. So if I look in here, I don't have a yellow selection here, so I can do all of the first 5, and then high tech will have to do in a regular assembler. But I think a regular assembler is going to be able to keep up with the next step. But they're 3 seconds of craft, 3 seconds. Now, that's pretty handy. They also use less power than a regular assembler does without any modifications. They use considerably less power than an advanced assembler. So totally worth, at least once, since we have these filters now, totally worth to play with. I mean, it's just a no-brainer at that point. So since I am capable of making science at that pace, I have decided we're going to be using advanced laboratories. So I have 3 of the advanced laboratories set up here, and they're currently hooked up to a system that is out there. I have not set up the other 2, and that's what we're getting ready to do. So let's get us some parts, and let's build some stuffs. Okay, these are pretty simple to put together. They're just a multi-block that I did get the thing. Okay. All right, now on 1, 2, 3. I would almost like a little bit more space than that. Let's move it over to there, kind of keep them somewhat lined up. And then we'll back up and move 1, 2, 3. Just build these in layers. In advanced laboratories, they use a little more power, but they craft everything in a little less than 7 seconds. So there is no speed change between the regular laboratories, and like I said, they're considerably faster. So theoretically, I could actually run 2 of these labs for every one of those workbenches, which really means some things, because later on down the line, it's going to cost us a lot of money to do this, or a lot of time to do a lot of science. So I need to get the advanced lab blueprint going. Internally, I always forget what this is internally. It's a block. Okay, so we need a machine casing in the center, and in the center, and I would like the outputs here and here, the inputs here and here. And since I'm turning this around, the power is going to be there and there. And the controllers go right here and right here. And let's get the steel fence down on both of these. No, I don't want a wrench. I want the steel fence. Steel fence, steel fence, steel fence. Okay, and then it is in the corners as a regular machine block, like that. Yeah, we'll just finish this one. The machine vents and an electrum coil block. Bang, done. And then we'll do the same thing here. So that, oop, nope, that, and this, and you, and you, and you, and you. Cool. Now I can modify these. I can put efficiency modules in them, and the speed modules, and the production or the productivity modules. It's just not gonna worry about it just yet. So we'll get that guy out of the way. We need to then hook up some ducts. So I need to pick up one of those, and I can't pick up one of those because that thing won't let me take it out of there. I hate these things. Let's just do this then. Impulse. I just want one. Thank you. And we get to watch him work a little bit. And thank you, phone. It's kind of cool. You get to at least watch him work. So we got some production science so that I can filter this properly. And while we're here, sweet. This is one of those things. This science utilizes resources used throughout the factory. Be very careful of how much stuff you can tend to use up because it uses a lot of circuits and a lot of the other things that take to create this. There's quite a bit of circuits right here that this requires to make, so we have to be pretty careful with it. And while we're at it, let's go grab, I don't need this, you can go in there now. Let's go grab the military science, since you can't manage to get it out of these stinking bins. There we go. And we'll break this out of the way and break that. And since I'm already here, we'll go ahead and do the military as well. I'm actually very excited about this because if I want to go to any of the other dimensions, we need better weapons, we need better armor, we need quite a few things. So we'll put that back. Sweet. All right. And we need to filter the inputs. So we're going to grab an impulse item duct here and an impulse item duct there and two filters to go to work. And I want to whitelist, and I'm doing like this. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. I'm just limiting the amount that it can keep in that inventory because there's really no point in keeping that much stuff in the inventory. So, I mean, I guess you can do whatever you need to do. All right, so up. And where did I was gonna go this way with it. Can I get on that? Yes, thank you. Okay. Come on, magnet, work. Oh, here's another thing too. You can make this into a bauble. Very simply. And then you can assign it a hotkey, and it's out of your life. It's out of your inventory. You don't have to worry about it. Very, very usable that way. Okay, I think we're going to do something like this. And I'm just going to connect it across to this line and across to this line. And that just caused me a problem. No, it didn't. I was going to say the power is right there. No. Okay, now we have to output here, which I'm not going to hook those up until we have the power into them. So those guys should be filling up right now. Should. Come on. Oh, they won't fill up because I didn't hook them up. That's beautiful. I thought I hooked those up. Maybe I didn't. That. All right, now we're hooked up. All right, had to make a little cut there, had something come up. So anyhow, we got these guys hooked back in, and they have since filled their barrels back up over here, their bins back up, which means the production over here should have at least put a half a stack in each one of these. So we'll verify that. Good deal. All right. That means these guys are ready to go. I just need to hook some power to them. So let's get some power hooked up. And hopefully I don't burn wires doing this. I still have to segregate the top of this building out because these things are going to use a little power. So I will probably have to do that in between episodes. But let's grab some wire. Those are the MB wires. Yes, okay. And that I may have to break. No, I think we'll be alright. We'll just have to change a few things. Alright, I'm going to break you. And I'm going to connect you to here. And I guess we can break this one. And we can connect that to there. And alright, put the ducts back. Cool. And power down too. So you should fill up. And you should start crafting science. And it doesn't take long. Bang. Alright. Here. Fill that one up. And click. Come on. There you go. Alright, cool. So that means we can filter the outputs now. I need one of these, and I don't need to actually filter the outputs. We need them. I needed this one for the connection out there. So let's go ahead and get this little bitty system going here. Those things are now connected up. And you're wondering probably where that pipe is going. Well, I think we're good in here. I don't think I want to do anything else other than that because that's going to afford me 2 more sciences, which is going to be wonderful. Yeah, I still need to do a little bit more work in here. I've got the roof built. This was... Oh, that was a lot of treated wood. It was a lot of treated wood. I ended up filling the greenhouse full of pollution for a good little while because those coke ovens ran, I don't know, I think about 15 stacks of coal into coal coke. So yeah, it was pretty ugly. So the pipe comes out and it comes down into this nice little room, and this is going to be my science storage area, and this is going to be where I put my trophies. And this is also where I have the beacon that I made a long time ago. I made that because I had to clear out a bunch of land and a bunch of trees, and I figured why would I waste my time? So I now have continuous, it's being a little wonky, but speed and regen. So we need to filter that filter right there. That's great, and we can put him away. And I'll grab my wrench, and I will place this down. And I think as long as everything is working correctly, these are not servoed now, we can turn that on and turn that on, and they should go whoosh. Hopefully. Maybe. Come on. You have an output, I promise. I promise you have an output. Why is that missing? Well, that's awesome. I'll have to find another cover for that, but okay. So now they should go. Maybe. Come on. There they go. I love the drones. They don't spawn anywhere in this main world except for way over there and in the tunnels. So I have to deal with them all the time down there. And go. Okay, cool. Awesome. So now we have a bunch of science. I can let these guys run and fill up. And that is going to set some of the factory in motion. So I'm actually kind of interested to see what happens. I got parts flying around over here. Cool. And this guy's going to be a little while because it had quite a bit of a back stuff to play with. But this one, like I said, makes 6, I believe, or 5 or whatever, and then it finishes it and it stops. And we got parts coming in from all over the place. Man, that is so nice. It's actually way better I know it's none of this is running right now, but it's actually way better. So awesome. Okay, cool. So the last things I want to do, at least if we can get to it, is I have a bunch of research that I want to do with you guys right now. So I want to unlock titanium, the arc furnace, ore excavation, and the advanced machine processing. So let's get a bunch of science and really kick the factory in gear. Scroll down, please. I hope I don't break something doing this. Grab a little more. Okay. Let us start with titanium processing, because I need to start making titanium. This is going to get us the reaction chamber, which is a very usable thing for things other than titanium processing. So we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead and claim. It's been a long time since I've done this. Bang. Thank you. Awesome. I want the arc furnace because we need the arc furnace for other alloys. Thank you. How much do we have left? We got quite a bit. Ore excavation. I need this badly. This is going to be the only easy way to get considerable amounts of gold, which I am having a hard time finding a lot of gold in this world. They're in 4,000 and 5,000, 4,000 and 5,000 little patches, and they usually end up being the small end of something that has a whole lot more in it, like iron. I think I've got one over there that's mostly copper. So let's do some more. How much do we have left? We need to get some more. Advanced machine processing. This is going to give us the advanced rocketry rolling machine and lathe, and is also going to unlock some other stuff underneath of it. Claim. Back. That will give us the crystal processing, and this will give us the Hell Forge. Now the Hell Forge we should be able to do eventually, but there's some parts in here that I'm not going to have access to. Duplicator will be something I will use later on, probably to create diamonds and emeralds, even though I have, I think about, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 diamonds. Go away, snow. Alright, so we got all that sorted. That will allow me to do this. That is high-tech science, which I can't do right now. So we'll get back out of there. I want to research flight. Need some more red and some more green. Finish that, thank you. And I believe I have to do logistics. That should give me signal and servos. That's going to be production science. Well, look at there. We have 50. We can do that. Thank you. Signal and servos. This requires logistics drones, which is going to be this, which is robotics, which I need 150 of those. So let's get some more of this. And that will give us the hauler drone, which means all of the little drones that I've got in my boxes I can now use. Very cool. That will that'll also open up the Robot, which the Robot's a pretty neat little guy, especially in a pack like this. Alright, so will that let me get this? That will let me get the logistics drones, which I am going to have to wait on some more production research. So we'll just go ahead and put all of the stuff away, and I am going to call that an episode. So I guess I will get a bunch of that stuff set up and start building a few things. I'm working on another project over there that you guys are going to have to wait on for next episode, and we'll probably start expanding and actually start processing some of the other ores that we have, like titanium, because I would really like that servo. But he takes titanium, so this is going to be a thing. So, alright, I guess that's good enough for me, guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Bye.